A mayor who says he gets no respect, a new police commissioner determined to be his own man, and a possible takeover of Rikers. So many issues to chew over during this summer in the city. The Point starts right now. It may be vacation time, but the big issues of the day have popped up unrelentingly. We're dealing with an asylum seeker crisis, congestion pricing, a mayor who thinks he's not getting enough credit, and on and on and on. Political experts J.C. Polanco and O'Brien Murray are here to help sort it all out. So first of all, let's talk about the mayor of the city of New York, who feels he's not getting enough credit for all the things he's done. And before we get started talking about it, I want you to listen to when he went to the Christian church in Brooklyn about a week and a half ago, where he wanted to talk to people in his community to talk about why he doesn't get any respect. Let's take a listen.
This is what we need to recognize. We are managing the most powerful city in this country. And no one wants to look at it. No one wants to recognize what we've done. We navigated us through COVID. We navigated us through the asylum crisis. We've navigated us through the financial crisis. We've navigated us through the violence that other cities are having to wrestle with. Look at other cities and you see people sleeping in encampments on the highways, on roadways. You're not seeing that in New York. You're not seeing it because there's a child of God that's the mayor of the city of New York. And I'm clear on my mission.
Well, clearly people at the Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn liked what the mayor had to say. But the question I have for you is, why is he doing it? He's been in office 18 months, and he seems to think he's not getting credit for everything he's done. What's your take on it?
Well, I hope the mayor doesn't quite see us today, because what I'm about to say is he shouldn't be reading all the clips. And that's very tough for anybody in the public eye, because you're going to catch stuff that is critical about you in some way, shape, or form. There are other clips out there that say good things about you. You report on the good things, you report on the bad things. You do both, but it's very tough to take that in and use that in a positive way when it's the clips. You have to take that energy you have and keep looking forward and not look spread out all over the place. But these crises he has have landed on his lap a lot of times, not his own creation, not a mistake he made to get there. And now he has to work as a team with Washington, with Albany, and get the support that he hasn't gotten in the past.
You know, the truth is, there's some truth to what he's saying. This has to be the second toughest job on the planet, next to being president of the United States. And it appears that every single thing he does, or every single thing he says, it's under a microscope, and he doesn't have enough support from his own team. We saw the city council recently override his veto. We see folks in his own party attacking him all the time. And then when he sees issues in the city and he goes to the governor and to the White House and not get support, it's almost like, come on, I'm the mayor of New York City. I need some support. I have an enormous number of migrants here. You're not sending us enough money. How are we going to help support the infrastructure in the city without your support? And he looks to his right and he looks to his left. When he goes up to Albany, they're Democrats. When you look up in Washington, they're Democrats. And they're not supporting him. So he's like, hey, I'm not getting the respect I deserve. I think he's onto something.
But see, here's the thing that I think we need to focus on. He came into office saying, I am going to make the streets safe again. And in his mind, and in the statistics have gone down in almost every major crime category. There's been a dramatic drop in crime, but nobody's happy, and people don't feel safe because of these random acts of violence. So in a sense, he feels, you elected me to make you feel safe. I'm working on it. I'm getting there, but nobody believes me.
The amazing thing, though, today is also, much like CBS, you guys are 24/7 now. You have online and you've got live, and it's fantastic stuff. On our phones, we get notification about an incident, notification about the arrest, the pursuit, the prosecution possibly. Oops, it's not that. We get the clarification. One event, 5, 6 news flashes. I've talked to people in Connecticut, and they wonder.
You know what you're doing? You're doing the same thing that the mayor did a few weeks ago when he went on a local news station, where he blamed the media for creating the feeling that we're not safe. Do you think that that's true?
Well, listen, the truth is that there are parts of our city that are just not safe. That's a fact. You know, you go to where I live in the Bronx. There's parts of the Bronx where almost all of the crime is happening exclusively, and it happens daily. We see children being killed in the streets. This is a daily occurrence. This is a one in a lifetime situation. And the issue is that when we see it in the press, we're seeing it now more than ever before. Like you mentioned,
so are you guys blaming the media for reporting what actually happened?
No, Marcia. What I'm saying is, we all operate in the political world. Perception's reality. And the one story we used to get in the Daily News, CBS, New York Post, New York Times, front page news, was morning and the next day. We are getting so much information, the bad stuff comes to the top, and we see it and we think it. The mayor is dealing with a different world today. Anyone would have done it. It's not blaming the media. It's having to adjust in politics and as administrations go. Bloomberg was so many years ago, he would be in a different world today with that same information flow. And what the mayor has to do is take his team and ignore all this noise and do the things he can do and say, these are the achievements, and let that outshine the incident. Let the overall do that. And it's a tough
in the real world, when you wake up in the morning and you look at your phone or you watch TV or you look at a newspaper and you see 3 people killed over the weekend and 2 people shot and somebody was stabbed, are you going to think you're safer?
Or last night? No, that happens. The answer is no. We don't feel safer because of the fact that we're seeing these things in the press nonstop. And quite frankly, I think people are waking up to a lot of these crimes. And these crimes are horrendous. People getting attacked in the trains, people getting shot inside subways, and little children in the park getting killed. These are shocking. And they're more shocking now than ever before because, as Obi mentioned, we have that information at our disposal 24/7. But there's something else.
What does the mayor do?
Let's be honest. But let's be honest. Look, every single news outlet, and I love CBS. Every single news outlet has a political ideology leaning, and I'm not saying CBS does.
I'm not saying JC. Not here. I'll tell you that right now.
I said president company excluded.
Okay, fine.
I didn't hear that part.
No. When we look at the press in New York City, we're going to say the mayor says, I need to close this because of X reason. If you are a newspaper with a liberal leaning viewership or readership, excuse me, you're going to take offense to anything this mayor does regarding Rikers, regarding the migrant crisis, regarding housing in the city, if it doesn't appease a utopian progressive approach. And we're seeing it more and more in local media. So as far as the media is concerned, he doesn't have the centrist or Republican side, and he definitely has the left-leaning media in New York City just putting him on the microscope.
One of the mistakes he made in the migrant crisis, and he owns it, is when they open a place and close it because it wasn't either done properly or wasn't the right place. Part of that is getting the immigrants the knowledge to know this is where you want to go and here's why. All the service you need will be there. You don't get to show up here and go to Midtown Manhattan where the whole world wants to be, and then when you're here, tourists can't come. That's one thing he could control. Beyond that, the cost and all of that money coming in, that's Washington and Albany, and he has to call them out, and when he calls them out, they run from him.
So to your point, I want to point something out to you. So you say that all the media has a political bent, and if they don't agree with the mayor, they go after him.
I never said all.
That's what. Yeah, but that
except for President Company.
So some media. So let me point something out to you that the mayor has now decided to do his own radio show on WBLS, where it's going to be from time to time, where he's going to be the host. He's going to bring in guests who are going to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. He'll take calls from people who want to call in, and hopefully it's going to. And he obviously on WBLS, he's aiming towards a certain community that he hopes will help him get reelected. But what do you think about the idea of the mayor now trying to control the message himself with his own radio show that he's the host of, not somebody else asking him questions?
I take offense to that only if he doesn't have press conferences, but he does. He does. So it's not as if he's not. It's not as if the press, especially you, Marcia, you're an expert at this, can ask him the tough questions. But if he has an outlet where he can speak to people directly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some folks have Twitter. He'll have this. Some folks today.
He has Twitter. He has Instagram.
No, but I mean, exclusively. I think into the folks.
Him doing it is a great thing if it's done the right way. But he also should be right here with you, Marcia, next Sunday.
He comes all the time.
I'm saying, but that's the thing about it, is he continues to do this, and that it's an additional thing. If it's in replace of, it's a very different situation.
See, I'm just wondering if he thinks that 18 months in, where he has another, he has 4 year, a whole 4-year term, why he's so paranoid.
I don't think he's paranoid. I really think he feels as if paranoid. I'm taking issue with that word, but I think he looks to his right and his left. He sees his own party not supporting him. He sees that at every level of government, and he sees the city with a migrant crisis, with a crisis in Rikers, with an issue with the city, with crime, and he's like, Did you guys not hear me talk about raise the age as a problem? Did you not see me say how this bail issue is costing lives here in New York City? And these discovery laws are a problem because they put a chilling effect on witnesses, and witnesses not coming out and helping prosecutors get criminals off the streets. So when he goes to Albany and begs for this, none of these things are happening that he promised, and he's very frustrated, and I see it every day.
I know you want to talk. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back, and you get the first question.
Love it.
We're back with O'Brien Murray and J.C. Polanco. Now, I know, Obi, that you're very concerned about the migrant crisis, but just this past week, the mayor decided that there's no more room at the inn, that he's going to have to use a 60-day rule to limit the number of people who can stay in shelter. It'll be targeted at adult people only, not children with families. But I would like you to hear what he had to say. Let's take a listen of his press conference.
Our compassion is infinite, but our space is not.
Today, we have over 200-something people who have arrived. We're giving them notice that we have no room. We need you to come back at a different time so that we can see if we can process you.
They just wait.
They just have to wait.
They're waiting, desperately waiting to see if there's going to get a placement.
There are no laws that prevent people to wait wherever they can find a place to wait. But right now, we have no space. So wherever they can wait, they are waiting.
So now we have a reversal of policy. New York City has a right to shelter law. We're also a sanctuary city. Yet the mayor has now said we need to start moving people out of these shelters, single adults, usually men, but sometimes women, so that people with families and children can move in. What does this say about our city? And I can hear people screaming and yelling even as we speak.
When you started as a reporter and you got your first assignment, and a week later, a month later, you kept getting, you were like, oh my, you're an expert on a specific topic that day, and then a new one and a new one. You do it like in your sleep now because you're fabulous at it. But when you first started, that's what it was. The mayor started off the immigrant crisis with a busload of people showing up. What do? It's like a building burnt down, and how do you help the families? The Red Cross does their thing and all this done, and it's done for weeks at a time. Every single day, a building shows up, and they don't communicate with Texas because Texas won't tell them what's going on. And so that system, it does not fit into what New York City does as a guaranteed housing no matter who you are when you show up. And the system can't handle it. And so what you talk about here is the mayor needs to say it, and he's calling them out. And the progressive Democrats don't want to just say, oh, you're right, let's work with everybody. Because there are New Yorkers that outside in the Bronx, when I'm outside the shelters handing out stuff, they don't have socks. And yet everyone's getting housing that just shows up on day one.
JC.
This is a real problem. First, shame on those governors treating these folks like pawns. These are not political pawns. These are people in despair. And the truth is that's what's happening. And now the city is in a position where the utopian progressives, not all progressives, but the utopian kind that thinks that, you know, we have unlimited space, unlimited taxes available to pay for things. They were pushing for things like this. This sanctuary city had an impact where you can be here and we won't report you, and we will take immigration officials out of Rikers and we won't report those that we have been coming. Created an atmosphere. Created an atmosphere where we told the world we will take all of your migrants, and now we're in this position where there's just not enough room, and we're sending folks down at the border to tell them not to come to New York City because we're out of space.
That was not that message, JC. The message was, if you're in the United States and you want to be safe, come here. That was what sanctuary cities were. Sanctuary cities weren't saying come from Europe and come from Mexico. It was saying come from other parts of the country.
Weren't saying that, really. It was the governors of states that were on the border that were saying, New York's a sanctuary city, we're going to send them to...
And that's why they sent them here. But what happens here is you have a Republican governor of Texas sending them to the Democratic mayor, hoping the Democratic mayor will get help in Washington.
Here's the question, JC. Here's the question I have for you. The President of the United States could very easily help New York City, even if we just want to give them money, by saying we're going to allow them to work. Because a lot of these people came here, they want to have the American dream, they want to work, but they need to get work papers. Well, so why not do that?
Marcia, that's a political question. If the governor, if the president were to do something like this, he would be blasted as giving undocumented workers the right to work, and in those battleground states where he barely won, I don't think it's going to bode well in a commercial in November. And
so you're saying what he's
President Biden, and then I can see the commercial, undocumented immigrants working.
So you're saying that he's making a political decision, not a compassionate decision.
Of course, because he's compassionate. He knows the politics of this.
We are at a new paradigm too. The mayor taking care of the immigrants, doing the right thing as a humanitarian and a good person, is putting them here where we are today. What the system needs to do is say, wait, they need services. Why do we keep those right here in Manhattan? Let's push those to the Bronx. Let's push them to Queens, and then the housing goes there. Because right now, when the housing goes there, JC, there are men in JC,
filled to capacity.
But the reason that they don't go there is because there aren't the support services. Right now, there are men and women working every day, traveling 60 minutes and longer to commute. Those men and women have been here forever. And the immigrants get put here because they're close to the services. JC. Let's take care of those who have been here forever.
Go ahead.
Look, we have enough issues in the outer boroughs. The idea that we're just going to put more shelters out there for this migrant issue is just unfair. The truth is that the president should do something about this immediately. The mayor cannot do this on his own, is what we were talking about earlier. He's not getting the respect he deserves, and it's coming out of White House as well. The mayor needs support right now. This is a crisis because guess what? It's not just shelter. It's the schools that the children have to attend. It's the doctors that have to take care of these folks.
Yes.
It's the mental health counselors that need to be provided so that people can continue living. It's everything you can imagine. All of the infrastructure that we don't have right now and the money we don't have that we have to find from somewhere to supply these folks.
JC, put the walls up.
Wait, guys, I want to change the topic for just a second. I want to talk about crime because we have a new police commissioner who followed in the steps of Keyshawn Sewell, who was the first black female commissioner, and she quit allegedly because she felt she was being micromanaged by City Hall. So I happened to do an interview with the new police commissioner. I asked him about it. Let's take a listen. Are you worried about the possibility of micromanaging from City Hall?
The mayor has his job to do, and I have mine. I think the mayor understands that I have my own independent voice, and I continue to have my own independent voice.
So there you have it. He says he's going to have his own independent voice. JC, do you think he's going to be able to do it?
First of all, thank you, Mayor Adams, for this appointment. The Latino community in New York City is very excited about finally getting on the map. We get no respect, no statewide elected, no citywide elected. We finally have a New York City commissioner. Thank you for that. I think that because he came from the ranks and he was a police officer, and I think that the mayor shares that experience, we're going to see Commissioner Kaban have a lot more room and a lot more leverage than previously.
When I was in basic training in the Army and infantry at Fort Benning, at the end of the day, I would write my diary. Only time will tell. That's what's going to happen here. He knows what he agreed to with the mayor. The mayor will keep his word, and anyone else on the staff too. When he has to do what he has to do, will he get that power? Only time will tell, and maybe we'll hear about it. Marcia will hear about it.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think that there's an interesting thing about Police Commissioner Kaban, and that is this, that he's somebody who actually earned the position. He had to take a test to be a sergeant. He passed it. A test to be a lieutenant. He passed it. A test to be a captain. He passed it. He wasn't brought up through the ranks and skipped over by some of the other people and other people in the department. He earned that position, and believe it or not, he's one of the few people who's actually had every single position in the entire NYPD. We have 1 minute left. Will that stand him in good stead in terms of having the mayor's ear and being able to do what he wants?
You get all three. You get the community behind you 100%. I see it in the Bronx with his appointment. You have the mayor who also went up the ranks, very excited about this. And you have the rank and file police officers that know what it's like to go up the ranks that are going to support this. I'm very excited.
He's a cop's cop, and he's got the leadership. Now time will tell. He'll execute it.
So, but do you think that he's really going to be able to put his stamp on it?
I think so. And I think that this politically helps the mayor. The Latino community needed to see this. This was a big deal for us. And I think that, moving into a future election, this is a big feather in his cap.
The mayor will let him do it, too, because the mayor has to show from his leadership that he can delegate. And this is a great opportunity to do that.
Obi, we're going to have to leave it right there for now. But our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York.